Thank you so much for being on the call with us today. It truly doesn't go unnoticed or unappreciated. And I know you've just made strides of improvements, each and every, month, year. I remember seeing you kind of coming into the business, Michael, and I was like, wow, this young kid, he's crushing it. But how long is he going to crush it, right? That's always the question. And Michael, you've been consistently crushing it for I think 2 years now, maybe going on 3. I could be a little off there, but your consistency has been on the up and up, and just seeing that is admiring. So first and foremost, just congratulations on your accomplishments. Thank you so much for being on with us today. But just to kind of hop right into it, Michael, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you were doing before Family First Life, and kind of what got you into Family First Life.
Of course. Well, thank you guys so much for having me on. Like, I always enjoy doing this because when I was a new agent, these are the calls that I aspired to be on to get better and to get to the next level. Oddly, I'm in the field today. It's like the second Thursday that I've ever ran in the field. So I was hoping you guys would be able to hear me okay. But thank you guys again for having me on. About 2 years ago, I've been doing FFL for about 2 years. So October of 2020 was my first full month. And I was, I try not to hit everybody with the rags to riches story, but it's at one point in time, I was, I didn't have anything, and I was looking for an opportunity where I would be able to work really hard and make a lot of money, because a lot of people, when they come into Family First Life, they don't typically, a majority of the people that I saw come into Family First Life, they don't come in because they have a lot of capital. They actually come in because they're looking to, change their financial situation, which is what I was looking to do, So I found Family First Life through my friend, he worked for a previous company, and I didn't know anything about comp. I didn't know anything about no leads. I didn't know anything about any of that. I was just looking to stop door dashing. That was it. So he told me, he's like, look, dude, I made $500 on Monday. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? I was like, dude, is this ethical? Like, how are you doing that? 500 in a day? And dude, you're 18. And he's like, dude, it's ethical. Listen, I'm selling life insurance. I was like, dude, whatever you're doing, dude, I'm in. Like, dude, sign me up. So I moved to Florida. On the way to Florida, we were talking. He was telling me about it. And when me and my brother moved to Florida, it was right when I turned 18 years old. I moved out here, and I called the local guy, the company that he was working with, the manager in the area. I called him, and I was like, hey, dude, I'm ready to go. Like, sign me up. And he sent me the course. I'll never forget. Me and my brother, I was literally living out of my vehicle at the time. So I remember going to a parking lot, and I studied for about 10 minutes. And the thing was, if I stayed in idle for more than like 10 minutes, my car would stop. The AC would stop. And in Florida, that doesn't really work. So I quit. I was like, you know what? Screw that. I'm not doing that. That's retarded. So 3 months later, I was in the same financial position. I was broke. I didn't have any money. I was barely making ends meet. I was doing DoorDash. I was doing odd-end jobs. And my dad came across a Family First Life ad, and it's like, make multiple six figures, no college degree. And I mean, as appeasing as that sounds, of course, he looked into it, and then he told me about it, and then I looked into it, and I got on the phone with a couple people. And long story short, I end up calling Eric in Florida, and he's like, dude, meet me in my office in an hour. I met him at his office. He's like he was like 10 minutes in. I didn't even know the guy. He's like, look, you got a week to take your test. A week. I don't even know who you are, but if you're serious about this, you have 1 week. A week later, I end up passing my test. And it's been a crazy journey ever since. So that's how I found Family First Life. And this truly, I know a lot of people say this, but this truly has been the most life-changing thing that I've ever been a part of. It's been insane to be able to even think about. My goal was to make six figures, like to do that multiple times over, and not even going to drink. Pretty insane. So I'm really thankful. And that's kind of my story on how I got started.
Absolutely. And that's amazing. I mean, talk about going from, you said living out of, your vehicle to making, multiple, six-figure income and for yourself, but working hard. And I love how you started with that, Michael. You said, I wanted to do something that I would work really hard and I would be paid and compensated, generously, right? which I'm
Sure.
with you there. And I love that. But also the essence of you taking a leap of faith, you're like, you know what, almost what do I got to lose? And like you said, most people don't come into this industry with everything. Most of us come into this industry with not a whole lot. So your story is extremely humbling, and it's just crazy to see how everything kind of ties in together. Next thing you know, you're in Eric's office. I love Eric in that he's a nut in the best way, right? But
Yeah.
Eric's like, gotta do this. And then you're like, okay, and you check the boxes and you're like, I'm gonna do it, right? And you got running. Love it. So
Absolutely.
last year, you hit Hall of Fame. Now, last year you helped over 600 families. Is that right? How many?
Yeah, 669.
669. Okay, awesome. So talk to us a little bit about that. So helping over last year, helping over, almost 700 families. What did your lead flow look like then? And why did it look that way, or why does it look that way?
Of course. So yeah, I think that's probably that's the most important thing with, like, I see guys like, you see top producers in the company writing like helping 60, 70, 80 families a month. The thing, I came to the realization when my first month, when I helped like 70, like 50 families, I was like, wow, these guys they're not like better than everybody else. They just buy more leads. That's it. That's all they do. Like, and I am living proof of that. Like, I know, because I know I'm not like good on the phone. I know I'm not I don't like, there's nothing special I'm doing in the home. It's just I started spending 2,000, 3,000 a week in leads, and it literally changed the game for me. So I'm sure there's probably maybe a couple new agents on this call. This is the advice that I wish I would have known. This is the piece of information that I wish I would have known from day one, is this. And it literally, I feel like I would have saw way better results than what I did, simply because this was probably my biggest hurdle, was not investing into leads from day one. Like, I was making $300 a week, like $300 a week. Like, that is so bad. $300 to $500 a week. And when my manager's like, hey, dude, you are not going to be profitable. You're going to go broke if you don't start spending 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 a week on leads. I was like, dude, you're insane in the head. I was like, there's no shot I'm spending 2K a week in leads. It took me a month and a half to make that at my previous job. There's zero shot I'm doing that. And that was my biggest hurdle. I was a hard head about that, and I did not do that earlier. So it literally took me 7 months to like 5, 6, 7 months into the business before I consistently started doing that. And for any new agent that is looking to get to that point, the best piece of advice that I would give is really, really extinguish your leads to maximize your profitability, to really save up 10, 15, $20,000 into your account. And then once you have that cushion, then start consistently spending $2,000 every single week. And that's what I done. I remember I saved like $10,000, $15,000 in my account. And then it was April of 2021. I started spending $2,000 minimum every single week in leads. And that month I was able to help like 70 families. And it was like, whoa, it was like, I don't know, it was weird. It was really, really weird. It was like, wow, I didn't get that much better. I just simply had triple the amount of people to see. It's like in 1 week, in 1 month, I didn't just become some like nasty insurance salesman. It's just, I saw triple the amount of people. So I saw triple the amount, I saw triple the results, So last year in the beginning, from January to about March, it was terrible. It was really bad. I would spend 500 here. I would not spend some weeks, and then I wouldn't have leads on dial day. And then I remember John, if you guys know John Luzzy, maybe you guys do, maybe you guys don't, but he challenged me, dude, $2,000 a week. He's like, don't stink and talk to me. I was like, okay, whatever, I'll do it. And then I done it. And then that month, from April to December, there wasn't a week that I didn't spend at least $2,000. And what gave me the confidence to be able to do that was having that $10,000, $15,000 in my account. Because I thought to myself, worst case scenario, I don't sell one policy. At the end of a month, I'll still be fine. I'll still have money. I'll still have money to invest in the leads. And that wasn't the case, though. Like, every single week, it was like, wow, if I only could have imagined, if I would have done that a little earlier, where I could have been, but yeah, that's what it looked like. And then I eventually scaled that. I went from 2,000, I think I went to like 2,800, and then I went to like 3,000 plus. And it was like, I remember Grady Polson on like a podcast. He said, dude, on average, you can 5X your investment. And I was like, wow. So if I'm spending 2, I'm helping 10 families. I can spend 3 and help 15 families. 15 families 4 weeks out of the month. That's 60 families. I was like, there's no way I could do that. I started spending, and then I started helping, 50 families a month. So it's truly it's really, really, it's truly amazing. And I know Sean Mike says this a lot. There's literally no talent that is required to succeed in this business. There's none. It's just simply being willing to consistently, get in front of enough people and consistently dial the phone. And I know a lot of time, I know you guys are probably like, holy cow, I've heard this a million times. And I wish today, I had something insanely special for you, for all of you, some secret sauce, but unfortunately I don't. All I do to this day is spend 2,000 to 3,000 a week in leads. I help, however many on average, I 5X my investment. Some guys 7X, 10X their investment. I'm not that good, but I am at least able to 5X my investment. And that isn't a bad gig at 20 years old.
Absolutely. And, I think that it shouldn't go unnoticed to say, like you said, you started in October of 2020, and then in April of 2021, you helped 70 families that month. And that was probably your first biggest month, so to say, right? And all you're saying is my lead cost went up. So I helped more families. My family helping went up, right? And I love how you open, like, I'm not special. And all the people I was watching, they're not special, right? Like, I'm not special. Rami ain't special. No one on this call is special, right? But at the end of the day, what it comes back to is, what does your lead flow look like? But also, what does your activity look like, right? Because we can buy all the leads in the world, we don't work them. You're not going to 5X that investment like Michael's talking about. So Michael, talk to us a little bit about activity and schedule. Like, what does income producing activity mean to Michael?
Of course. Yeah. So I know a lot of times, so what I try to do is the FFL system is something that has already been proven, and I never second guess that. They were like, look, dude, you dial Monday, you dial Thursday, run 4 filled days and you'll do this. And it's like, okay, cool. When I started in this business, I was the kid who showed up to the office at 8:30 with probably a dozen donuts and started dialing at 10:30 and then left by lunch. And then I'd have 2 appointments on Tuesday, 3 appointments on Wednesday, 4 no-shows, and thinking one of them, it was terrible. It was just it was a mess. So I realized really quick that was not going to be something that I wanted to do for very long because I wasn't too profitable doing that. So with scheduling, here's the thing. I've always had trouble on the phones. Like, I've been terrible. I was like so bad on the phones. So what I had to do is just, for what I lacked in, like, I guess I would say what I lacked in skill, I made up in time. So instead of, leaving the office at lunch, I started telling myself, hey, you know what? I'm going to dial from 8:00 in the morning. And if it's 8:00 at night and I only have 13 appointments, hey, at least I put in the time, and that's what I started doing. And that's what really, dude, I'll never forget. I had a Hall of Fame producer at the end of 2020. He's like, dude, you really, what your stinking problem is you're not dialing the phone all day to book your appointments. I was like, man, dude, I was like, that's probably what it is. So one day he's like, dude, I'll sit in here and I'll dial with you. And we dialed, I remember it was like 7:30 in the morning. And then we end up leaving the office at like 9:30 at night. And I end up booking like 30 appointments that week. And I end up helping like 15 families. And I was like, wow. I was like, man, that's amazing. And I was like, and that was it. I started dedicating. And I've had people ask me like, dude, what did you do? And I literally, this is the best piece of advice that I could give anybody is, if you're willing to dial 12 hours a day on Monday and 12 hours a day on Thursday, there's zero chance that you won't Hall of Fame. Zero. Like, there's no possible way. If you commit 24 hours a week to dialing the phone, there's zero shot you won't hit Hall of Fame. And, if you ask somebody, hey, are you willing to put in 24 hours? John Luzzy calls them lunch pail days. He's like, dude, you're not out on a stinking roof. You're not, sweating, you know what I mean? It's like, he's like, dude, all you're doing is sitting down, dialing the phone. And that was a huge, huge hurdle that I had to overcome in the beginning. But I started committing to dialing 12 hours on Monday, 12 hours on Thursday, and then I started running 32 appointments a week. That was it. 8 appointments a day, 4 days a week. I would typically sit with 5, and I would typically help 2 to 3. And that was it. And then I done that consistently over the span of a year. And then at the end of the year, I was like, wow, that's pretty incredible. I'm not special. I didn't do anything crazy. It was just, I was insanely consistent with that schedule on a weekly basis. Like even the 669, that divided by 52 weeks is just 12 families a week. Like it's not stinking Steven Giordano helping 30 families a week. Like it's literally just 12 families. I had 30 appointments consistently. I sat with 20 and I helped 10 for an average of $100 a month, which is 12 families a week. That was it. That's all it was. 12K. I'm not really sure if I can say that or not, but yeah, that was it. And I done that over the span of 52 weeks. And that's what my schedule looked like. And I just became obsessed with the appointment count every single week. Every single week I wouldn't get up unless I had at least 8 appointments a day. Because I can never, like some guys in our office can go out with 3-4 appointments and close all 4 of them. I was never that person ever. I could never do that. Like even on my best day, I couldn't do that. So I just became obsessed with the appointment count on a weekly basis. And, it resulted in helping a ton of families.
And, Michael, I think that's actually one of the biggest things in this industry that actually matters, right? We can have all the leads. We can have all the activity. We can have, all the door knocks. What it comes down to is how many people did we sit knee to knee with? Or if you're doing telesales, how many people did you get through a full presentation and pitch over the phone, right? Like how many people did you actually get in front of? Because what I hear you saying is, hey, I didn't do anything special. I didn't work the numbers. You're saying that's 12 families a week, like, which is amazing, by the way. So you're not giving yourself a lot of credit. However, you're saying, hey, all I did was put my head down. I said, this is my schedule. I'm going to dial for 12 hours on Mondays and Thursdays. Those are my dial days. I'm going to know I put in the work. So I can't go home feeling bad about myself because I did what I was supposed to do. And then at the end of the day, you went out, you helped half the people you were sitting with, right? You booked 32 appointments. I love that. I do 8, 8, 8, 8. So I'm with you on that, 32. It's a beautiful combination. But I'm with you. If I don't have 8 appointments, it's almost like, I might go out there and get no-show. I might go out there and Betty tells me no. Not everybody tells me yes either. Just like we're hearing from Michael right now, not everybody tells Michael yes. Michael's like 50% of people last year told me no, right? But the 50% that said yes absolutely made up for my activity. And I think that's just huge. So focus on your appointment count, guys. If you're a brand new agent or if you feel like you're in a pitfall, focus on how do I get my appointments back up? Not what am I doing wrong in the home? It's how do I get my appointments back up? That's what matters, right? Is the appointment count. So love that. And then if you could just bring us to how you set the proper expectations when you go and sit down with the family, what that kind of looks like to avoid rebuttals at the end. So being proactive versus being reactive.
Of course. No, absolutely. And like they say, nothing good happens outside of the home. That's so true. And like the reason why I keep saying this, that's another place like that was just a complete train wreck at was the in-home. I was like, man, I'm an 18-year-old. They're going to like get this punk out of my house. Like, that's what I thought in my head. I was like, man, there's no way I'm going to be able to help people with life insurance. And that was really just a mental thing. So when I started, it was just a complete struggle. I was a complete mess, but I kept going. And with repetition, you become better. You deal with more rebuttals. You learn how to handle rebuttals. You ask people for advice. And I asked a ton of people for advice, and I utilized all them things. And then I formed it into something that worked for myself. So with the in-home, I'll just briefly go over that. Hopefully that's okay. So from the in-home, I'll just kind of go from the beginning to the end. Some people print out their leads. Some people have digital leads. I don't really know. I guess it doesn't really matter. But as soon as I get to the house, I have my leads on my iPad. I show them the lead, whether it was filled out on Facebook, internet, direct mail, mortgage, final expense, doesn't matter. I show them the lead and I ask them a very direct question. I'm not too much report, none of that. Here's the reason why I ask them this question is because it's a very direct question and it's taking control immediately. And instead of sitting down with the client, showing him the lead, I was like, so Bob, if you could just verify that this was the lead that you filled out. He verifies it, and I say, so Bob, when you filled this lead out, who was the beneficiary that you were looking to protect, and what was your main concern? Now, 100% of the time, he's going to respond with exactly what I want him to respond with. He's going to respond with the name of his beneficiary. My beneficiary is my wife. My beneficiary is my daughter, Ashley. He's always going to do that versus when I started, I would walk into a home and say, hey, why did you fill this form out? And they would tell me, well, listen, buddy, I was just looking for some quotes. And if somebody tells you that, you're off to a bad start. Like, honestly, maybe even close your book and leave. Like, I had that so many times. It was just ridiculous. So I rephrased that. I said, you know what? I'm going to change that and see if it works. And I've been doing it for about a year and a half now, and it's literally worked. It changed everything for me. As I said, who was the beneficiary you were looking to protect, and what was your main concern when you filled this out? They're going to, respond with the name of their beneficiary, and then they're going to briefly elaborate on what their main concern was. Now, another thing that I dealt with was just settling for a surface level why. I would be like, oh, cool. So you were looking for some quotes? Perfect. Let me pull up some America quotes. I'd pull up some Eagle premieres and show them, and then they wanted to think about it. And I was kicked out in about 10 minutes. And that happened to me way too many times. Like, this was trial and error to the max. So I changed that up. I said, you know what? I'm not going to open my binder. I'm not going to move. I'm not going to proceed unless I have a solid foundation on why they filled this form out. What was the reason that they filled this out? Because when they go to tell me they want to think about it, I always have something to come back to. So what I've done personally, I got this from Jake Conan, is I would look at the clock, and if it was, so it's 4:28, I would ask them what was, their main concern, who was the beneficiary they were looking to protect, and I would not open my binder until it was at least 5 minutes. Now, sometimes I've had to sit there and think and it took me 15 minutes to build a foundation, but it is what it is. But at least 5 minutes. If it got weird, doesn't matter. And then once I have a solid foundation on why they filled it out, then that gave me the green light to proceed. And that's what I did. And that's what I do. And I feel like doing a lot of these things sets the proper expectations for the appointment, taking control. Hey, let's go to the table. Hey, do you mind turning the TV off? Like this morning, I had a dude, the TV was blaring. I was like, dude, like I can't, I don't really, I'm trying to conversate. The stinking news is going. He turned it off. They'll respect you for that, and they'll know that you took control, and, setting a solid foundation. And then from there, building a ton of credibility. And Grady Poulsen says this, I got it from him. When you build credibility, it decreases sales pressure. That was probably one of the biggest takeaways from me going from helping 10 families a month to helping 20, 30 families a month, was building credibility where they had no choice they had to trust me. So I still do these things to this day. As soon as I get there, I show them my state license, which I know a lot of people do that. I tell them to take a picture of my state license, look my license number up. I also show them my personal ID. My ID's vertical. So I have to tell them, hey, if you're under 21, you get a vertical ID, whatever, because some of people think it's fake, but ID. I also have my social security card laminated. Now, I know that's really weird, and a lot of people are caught off guard by that. But the only reason why I done that is because when I started, if I asked 50 people for their social security number, 40 of them were probably telling me, dude, there's no shot I'm giving you my social. I dealt with that so many times. It's not even funny. So I have my social security laminated. I have my ID. I say, hey, look, here's my driver's license. I got this from Chris Cazares. He's like, look, if you're ever in my area, you want to come knock on my door, feel free to do so. When I added that line, they literally feel like you're a part of the family. It's like so it was amazing. And it was amazing how much they trusted me after I added that into my presentation. And then I acknowledge my social security number in the beginning. I acknowledge it. I say, hey, look, I'm aware this is a very serious document, and you're probably caught off guard by this, but I put it like this, Bob. I'm not going to proceed unless these are removing objections. All of this is removing objections. Social security number, I say, look, I don't obviously show them my social. I acknowledge it. Hey, look, here's my social security card. I'm aware it's a very serious document, but I kind of put it like this: to get protection anywhere, It doesn't matter where you go. If you go to Allstate, Progressive, or, Bob, let's say me and you hop in the car and go to State Farm, right? We walk into State Farm, try to get any type of protection, and I hold my social and my ID up and I say, what are the two things they're going to ask me for? And they always shake their head like, yeah, my ID and my social. When you do that, 99 out of 100 people are always going to give you their social security number. And that was, oh my goodness, that was so helpful because I used to could never collect that. And then from there, I just show them, I build a ton of credibility, fill out the financial inventory, and then I, tell them, and this was another thing that really, really helped me with getting them to pick an option. Like, these are things that literally help me so much. Instead of showing them quotes and then saying, hey, which option would work best, instead of saying that, I would say, hey, Bob, unfortunately, we can't decide today, unfortunately, but if you were to be approved, which option would you want to send to the carrier? I'm not even kidding. When I changed that, these are things that allow to go to the next level. And hopefully this is helpful. I know I'm ranting. Probably a lot of you guys like, holy cow, this kid's ranting his head off. Hopefully this is helpful. But yeah, I say, unfortunately, we can't decide today. But if you were to be approved, which option would you want to send to the carrier? That literally 9 out of 10 people are going to pick an option when you word it like that. And that's all you need them to do. That's all you need them to do is to get them to pick an option. If you say, hey, Bob, what quotes, which option would you want to, like, which option works best? 5 out of 10 people are probably going to want to think about it. Versus when I reworded it, it was like, wow, that's like I just reworded it and like more people pick an option, which is what you're attempting to get them to do. And then sometimes I tell them this, I say, look, unfortunately, we can't decide today, but if you were to be approved, which option would you want to leave to your daughter, Ashley? It's like, and then it's like, wow. And it's kind of like they think about their beneficiary, and then it makes them more adamant about picking an option. So after that, they pick an option. Then I fill out the application. Once I'm done, I would say this is another thing, and this is the last thing. I don't want to like sing and rant for like 2 hours, but this is the last.
You're crushing it. So you're crushing it.
Is this okay? My first hurdle was being able to sell. That was the first thing. Like, once I got over that, then it was like, hey, how can I sell at a high level? Then I achieved that, and then after I started selling at a high level, it was like, man, how do I avoid chargebacks selling at a high level? Because like my first 6 months in the business, I'll be selling as chargebacks ate me alive. It was like, dude, I'm helping 40 families a month, but these chargebacks are ridiculous. So I implemented these like 3 things, and this has helped me so much. Oh my goodness, this helped me so much. Is when I'm done with the appointment, I say, so Bob, thank you for allowing me to help you protect your family today. I really appreciate that. Here's the thing though, if your intention is to, and I do it right before I submit it, I finish the app, don't submit it, but I say this, if your intention is to cancel this policy, please tell me now. I tell them, like, look, if your intention is to cancel this, please tell me now, because the last thing that I want to receive is a notification on my phone that you canceled your policy. Now, here's the thing, Bob, I know you're not going to do that, but assuming you do, if I'm ever back in your area and you see me knocking on your door, you'll know why. I'm not even kidding. I added that decreased like 80% of my chargebacks. I'm not even kidding. I started as like, look, Bob, if their eyes get really big and they look at you like, holy cow, I don't want this fluffy headed kid knocking on my door. So I was like, look, if you cancel your policy, I'm going to receive a notification of that. If I'm ever back in your area and you see me knocking on your door, you'll know why. The last thing they want is you knocking on the door. So that really helped with chargebacks. The last thing is I have it right here, is this helped me a lot. This helped me so much. Is hopefully you guys can see this. This is a policy summary. So this is just basic information about the policy, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys already leave with the client. Name, benefit, carrier, policy number, monthly premium, just all the information about their policy. On the back, okay, this is something that I added, but this has helped me so much. Okay, I have 3 lines. So 1, 2, and 3. When I'm done with the appointment, I give them the pen, I give them this, and I say, so Bob, if you don't mind, if you could write down 3 reasons why you done this today, I would appreciate it. So they literally write down, protection for the family, peace of mind, secure the home, whatever they write down, they write that down. And then they don't know a lot of times, but I end up leaving that with them. The last thing that you can do, this is insane, this is super helpful as well, is a business card. You can leave your business card attached onto the back of it. So if they ever go to call you to cancel their policy, they're literally reading the 3 reasons why they initially took that policy out. So, by setting up the in-home like that and by getting to the end and cementing your sales like that, it'll literally, not only will you be able to sell at a high level, you'll maximize your profitability by decreasing chargebacks by doing things like that. So hopefully that helped. I know that was a lot, but
that was awesome. You went from start to finish. And I love how you're talking about increasing credibility, decreasing sales pressure, because that is huge, no matter, how old you are, right? And I love how you talked about, you're like, you know what? I went out and I got my social security card laminated and I bring it out with me, not because, you're going to be giving up your social security number, but because you just want to know it's there, because it's a safety net for you to be able to say and bring up in the beginning. You're overcoming these. So you're not in the application. They're like, why do you need my social security number? That doesn't happen to you anymore, right? So it's almost like we have to hit all these different bumps in the road through our insurance career to know how to overcome them. It's like you said, Michael, now, 99% of people are like, here we go. Here's the social. They trust you. They like you. They trust you. The sales pressure is decreased. And the policy summary, that's huge. So we do something similar, but I love how you have the 3 reasons and then you staple your business card there. Because if someone's looking at the 3 reasons why they did that for their family, and then they're about to call you and cancel, they're thinking twice, right? So your chargebacks went way down. And it's all about just spending that extra, 1, 2, 3 minutes in the home to keep your persistency, that much better, right? So that's awesome. And thank you for being so open about that, Michael, too. That's huge. Last couple of questions for you are, first and foremost, are you going to convention?
Yes, I am going to convention. Yes, I plan on it.
All right. And what would you tell anybody on this call that's maybe brand new or they haven't been to convention yet? What would you tell them about convention?
Yeah, I would say, convention will literally it'll literally completely change your bit. First off, it's insanely motivating to see all the other individuals that are crushing it at a high level across the country. I went to my first convention in February of 2021, and I had my first 30, hopefully I'm phrasing this right. I helped 30 families for the first time. And after convention, I never helped less than 30 families, all of 2021. Every single month after convention, I helped over 30 families, and I haven't helped 30 families up to that point. And I think, honestly, like, it was not only all of the knowledge and all of the information that was provided at convention, it was just being around individuals that, like I mentioned, are killing it and that are really succeeding at a high level was just amazing. It really was. Like, being like, even like this last convention was insane. Like, it was insane. Like, the sinking, I don't know, like in Miami, it was just a really cool vibe and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I would say just the biggest thing is just being around other people that you aspire to be like, and it's really cool to be around them type of people. And, you are who you surround yourself with. So anybody that is contemplating not going, I would definitely recommend to go, because, you'll probably, promise you'll start helping a lot more families, because you'll retrieve a lot of information that'll really help you catapult your business.
Awesome. I love that. And thank you for that, Michael. So you went from, not have helped 30 families to, after coming out of convention, having helped 30 families. So let's all take note of that, right? And Michael's not the only one. I came out same way, similar way. So we want to keep that in mind. And what are your goals to wrap up 2022, Michael?
I don't know. My goal, I don't know. My goal is to, I've been slacking this year, but you know what? I'm going to try to help 100 families in December personally, and try to hit Hall of Fame, and then continue to attempt to grow an agency. But yeah, for the rest of 2022, just try to help 100 families in December.
Well, no doubt at all that you got that, Michael. You got that in the bag. So I'm looking forward to seeing you, walk across stage with Hall of Fame at convention. Thank you so much for being on with us today. It was jam-packed with so much value. So everybody go back, listen to this call. And again, Michael, we appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I know I rambled a lot. Hopefully it was helpful. I really hope somebody took something away from this. And thank you guys again for having me on.